Now, more of Shooting the Shit with Harry, Austin, Jackson, and Andrew. Now tune in on all platforms and streaming live on the X app.
All right. Hello, Jackson.
Happy Monday, Harry.
Happy Monday. It's the beginning of a new week. It's kind of crazy. Sorry if my hair looks all messy. I do get that messy hair look tonight. But yeah.
Man, I got a headache going on, but I'm gonna try my best to entertain you guys.
Shoot. So, how was your weekend?
Oh man, I had a good weekend. It was a long weekend. My roommate's brother was in town, and his girlfriend, and we hung out with them late last week into the weekend, and then all weekend kind of. So it was a lot of celebrating, drinking, and hanging out.
That's awesome.
How about you, Harry? What'd you do?
Worked. Just worked. You know, the usual thing that I do most of my days. Well, I'm glad that you had fun. I mean, as much as I'm not a drinker myself, but I mean, it sounds like a good time and good vibes. Good times and good vibes.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to see Hank and Kate. I'm sure you remember Hank from Missouri.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, good dude.
Yeah, so they're here until Wednesday. So
so I mean, I don't blame them for them just getting here and knowing that they got a little bit.
I mean, they're moving down here, so they just picked out an apartment and they'll be moving down. So that's exciting to have more of them down here.
Good. That is good. So, so about the opening ceremony of the Olympics over the week. Supposedly, I guess there was a bit of controversy that I'm understanding.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a lot of people got butthurt over it. Do you have a clip you can pull up of it?
Yeah, I can search around real quick. Sorry, I didn't get a clip prepared. But don't worry, we'll get that advanced.
Yeah, and I think I can pull it up as well, right? Can I?
Yeah, if you want to, you probably I didn't get that knowledge on it.
Oh, you want me to pull it up?
Yeah, if you want to.
Yeah, might as well. Let's see. I bookmarked a few things that on Twitter I've seen. Okay,
let's start.
I mean, would you think of a drag show of the Olympics?
I think they definitely are. I mean, I'm lost for words, honestly, because as someone that was a Christian, like that used to just go to church and all that stuff, you know, doing all that, and then when I strayed away, I mean, it was just for me to discover my own religion. But I understand the respectiveness to each religion, and I just think for the drag, trans and the drag community are just like basically pushing Christians down on the ground. It's basically a huge slap in the face, especially for a big event in the ceremonies of the Olympics. Like,
yeah, they could have definitely played it safe and did something not so controversial.
Exactly.
And I don't think it's just Christians that see the Last Supper because people are defending the Olympics and they're saying that it was not the Last Supper they're depicting. It was like a Greek uh, supper. But I find it hard to believe, especially with the one lady in the middle or the man, whatever it is, wearing a halo over their head.
I could definitely see that to be mistaken as the Christian Orthodox version of the Last Supper because it like I mean I don't know. I mean if they claim it to be Greek and defend it, I mean okay, that's fine. But it's more on the line of
I don't think it
whatever.
was anyone officially involved with the U.S. Olympics, or not just U.S. Olympics, but the Olympics organization. I don't think anyone associated with them has come out and defended them with the Greek thing. I think that was just people that,
Talking.
yeah, people talking. So fact check me on that, but who knows? I mean, honestly, don't we have bigger shit to worry about than an opening ceremony? I mean, it's obviously a talking point and it's an
Oh yeah.
important one, but at the same time, I'm like, we got a bunch more shit going on in the world. Did you see the Venezuela election results?
No, I did not. How did that go?
Well, it's going on right now. Last night, Venezuela had a fair election, and
Oh,
the dictator was voted out. But his party claimed victory, believe it or not.
okay.
So, so now the Venezuelans know it was a rigged election. The socialists rigged, the dictator rigged this election, and the people are very upset. And going on right this minute, I've seen them. They're within blocks of the dictator's house. So it's only a matter of time before they have his head on a stake.
Oh yeah. I think dictatorship alone in a country is never truly a successful one. As much as it could go on for years and years and years, it's just dictatorship just never seems to last very long. Everyone is bound to have a downfall because you're letting one person or a dynasty of a family to rule a nation or whatever, just like with North Korea or Venezuela or any other countries under dictatorship.
I
So,
mean, hell, we might be in under a dictatorship if Trump gets elected.
yeah, no. See that's the thing because if United States went under dictatorship under Trump's ministry, I think that will just create a lot of problems because dictatorships are like medieval kingdoms. It's always going to be a smaller portion of a property, and I feel like United States will definitely fall, not not as like having all 50 states come together because I could guarantee most of those 50 states are probably going to either break off, do their own thing, or whatever. And that would be something to look at.
Yeah, there's this YouTube channel, like it's called the Y Files. We'll give him a shout out. He does a lot of very nice production, um, and he likes to get into the weeds about stuff that interests me, such as conspiracies and time travel, and just out there subjects. And one video I was watching today was about a time traveler who claimed he was born in 1998, so 2 years after me, and came back into this world plane because, according to him, they have a uh, they believe the universe works with multiverses. So for every action you or I make, a new universe is created somewhere else. So in one universe, I'm a professional NFL player. In another universe, Harry, you're the president of the United States. You
Wow.
know, so I mean that's just the multiverse theory. So anyway, without getting too much into the weeds in the multiverses, he was talking about going into the future, and he was a soldier from 2038 or 2036 when he was sent back in time to save the world's resources because evidently the US had a civil war where millions died. And then shortly thereafter, because we were weak, Russia attacked the US and we went to World War III and billions of people were killed. And the only people still left were people that didn't live in major cities. And it was just interesting how he was talking about how in the post Civil War the U.S. separated into regions, and a president was elected for each region, kind of like you were talking about with the authoritarian government of medieval times.
Yeah, like multi-kingdomship, basically. I mean, like I said, I mean, it's basically complicated, but then again, I mean, I don't know how multi-authoritarian works, but I mean, I'm assuming it must be complicated. And I could definitely see it being an issue in the long run. Not everyone is going to agree on the same subject matter of political ideas. And just like how you and I mean, it's obvious that we don't agree with Joe Biden, but there's some others that would agree with Joe Biden. It's like,
I mean, I don't disagree with Joe Biden on every topic. It's just he's too damn old.
yeah, no. It's an example, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like knowing, yes, he's our president, but like I'm not gonna shout out like how some others would in general, saying he's not my president. And it's just like, well, I mean, you're in this country and he's sitting in office, so technically, yeah.
It almost feels like he's not our president right now, though. After everything that's happened this past month, I don't think anyone's really wondering what Joe Biden is doing every day. He is the ultimate lame duck. A lame duck is a U.S. president who cannot be reelected again. Or in this case, Joe Biden dropped out of the race. So I don't know if this has happened in modern times where a sitting president has not run for re-election.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy to look at it in perspective wise because honestly, I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah, knowing he had COVID and him dropping out of the re-election race, maybe he's just starting to realize, like, yeah, maybe I'm getting to that point. Like that's probably what his thinking process is. Like maybe he knows that people are calling him out for his age, basically. Like somebody's making a point.
I mean, there's no question about it. That's why he dropped out, right?
Oh yeah.
It wasn't because of his popularity. It was because he got to the point of where you can't hide it anymore.
Exactly. I mean, that's why they find Trump. So like even people who don't like Trump would find Trump as a more suitable candidate than versus Joe Biden or any other Democrat that's currently running. But that was the thing. Like if people literally had a choice between Joe Biden or Donald Trump, like a good majority of people would still have Trump in office and not have Biden.
That's a toss up too. This race was much wider before the assassination attempt and before Biden dropped out.
Oh yeah.
Now it's much closer. At least that's what the polls are showing.
Oh yeah.
The Vegas odds have tightened up as well. Trump is still favored in the Vegas betting odds. If you want to get any action on whatever candidate you like or don't like, you can bet for them or bet against them. Make some money on it. So I have no idea who's going to win this election. We're only in, I guess we're entering August now, so it's getting down to crunch time as far as political campaigns go. But as far as I see it, we're still 3 months out.
Yeah. I think it would be a pretty crazy, nasty election.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing, is going to watch the response. Are we going to have a Venezuela type response?
Well, for a majority of people that are in this nation, I highly doubt it, in my opinion. Like I said, dictatorship it doesn't never necessarily seem to work out. And if I'm not mistaken, yeah, dictatorship has its benefits because they'll favor on the rich people and all that and make the other lower class people work their asses to a grind. But people, you got to think the human emotion is so complex that it will take it has to take like a major amount of people to revolt and go against. Think about the czars. Think about the czars of Russia. Think about the other people who got revolted. China, Germany. They all got revolted because of tyranny.
Are you talking about the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia?
Yeah, the Bolshevik Revolution, and then with the German Nazi Party, they revolutionized. They had a revolution of their own, trying to overthrow the Kaiser. And then China, I don't know much about that one. I know they had a revolt because they had to kick out a dynasty, and then they started following it up with the USSR's communistic ways.
Yeah, it almost seems like we're headed toward an authoritarian type government.
Yeah.
The more we let them take our constitutional rights away, more rights we give up to the government, the easier it will be for a bad actor to get into that type of position inside of our government. And I think we kind of saw that with Trump. We didn't have enough checks and balances. Yes, he did leave the office, but it wasn't as smooth as traditional elections go.
Exactly. And I think the January, trying to think of that date where they attacked the Capitol.
January 6th.
Yeah, the January 6th attack. I think that one definitely demonstrated his power of how people can be so in there. Like they will literally think like if you're going to call out tyranny on government by a president, keep in mind, that's some pretty scary stuff. Because Trump can literally manipulate the majority of people like puppets and tell them, go march over there, and then change your mind later, but still go attack the Capitol like they just did.
So you're telling me a bunch of gun-toting, Second Amendment right activists didn't bring a single gun with them when they went to overthrow the government?
Or attempted, but yeah, they definitely had a gun. They definitely had guns. I think a few had assault rifles, if I'm not mistaken.
Were they fired? Was a single shot fired?
No, but actually, on whoever was the security into the Capitol, I think shot somebody.
Yes, a uniformed officer shot.
Yes.
But I'm questioning your logic though, as far as it being an overthrowing of our government or attempted coup, because I just don't buy that a bunch of gun nuts, Second Amendment right activists did not bring weapons for one, and for two, did not use them.
That is true. The whole thing. The whole thing didn't seem as bad as what it should have turned out. Because if that were the case,
And
I
there
mean,
were
when you,
videos recorded of these people that were supposedly overthrowing our government, walking around, taking pictures with different things.
Mhm.
You know, they weren't destroying stuff. They were just walking in and checking out the U.S. Capitol.
yeah, and then they reached into the inner core of the Congress building as all the Congress people were leaving.
Right. And
Yeah, and
that's
they got
where I believe that's where that one woman was shot and killed.
yeah. That one was crazy. And then that employee came out and tried. Yeah, there was an employee into that inner sanctum of the Congress area, telling them like, "Hey, just look around, please, like respect privacy or some." It was something like that. There was an employee trying to be polite about it and not trying to cause up anything, but there wasn't very many people in that area, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I feel like it was largely overblown, but the charges are very serious for interrupting a congressional hearing or what have you.
Oh yeah,
So, yeah, I I see both sides on that one. You know, for one, I can see where the right is saying this is largely overblown. It was never that serious. But then I can also see the dangers that people on the left are warning about of Donald Trump and him being a threat to democracy.
yeah. I think it's scary to look at it, honestly. But it's just when you say stuff like that and not give out the proper authority. I mean, Donald Trump wasn't always known as a political figure. He was always a businessman. That was his field. That was his profession. And then,
Business and TV,
yeah,
reality TV.
I mean, and just like JD Vance, he's the same way. He's not a political figure himself. Like, like let's just say with like Barack Obama going against oh, I forgot who, but anyway,
Oh, John McCain.
yeah, John McCain. So when you really think about it, those two were political figures. They were both,
Career politicians.
yeah, career politicians, and then like
Be,
but
be,
Bush and yeah, whoever. I'm just,
Between Vance and Trump, they only have 5.5 years of government experience.
so I never acknowledged them as
Harry,
political figures.
you've got more experience at your main job than you do than Trump and Vance do
I know,
in the
right? Like
government.
I could definitely take over my job and a great influence, but it's obvious that I don't feel that authoritarian is obviously necessary. So,
I'd also heard that Trump, when he was president, and this doesn't shock me at all, but when his advisors would talk to him about different conflicts and relationships going on throughout the world, that Trump was not familiar with them. Things that an average US citizen should know about that Trump did not know about and had to be briefed on all the intricacies of. So, That's another thing with Trump. But after his 4 years in, maybe he did get caught up on some stuff. He was in those intelligence briefings and has a better worldview and knows what the hell's going on in the world these days.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we can only hope, right?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I just think with Trump, I just think like, I mean, he definitely somewhat made a good president. I mean, it wasn't too bad. I mean, I think what he did on those tax breaks were actually pretty good.
Or
I think
it
he
was a
definitely
lot
gave.
cheaper to live back
Oh
then.
yeah, oh yeah, and then on top of that, during COVID, it actually, as a matter of fact, yes, as much as we were on a temporary recession, we were still, yeah, the economy was still booming. I even checked. So like I had this like 401k document, and literally it would show like a below threshold and an above threshold of how much money each year was invested. So basically, it would show a timeline of all the times that this 401k company invested into my retirement funds. So I checked on 2020. It was actually one of the highest investments that I've gotten during the whole pandemic, just during all of it, and it
Yeah.
was under Trump's administration. And I was like, how odd. That is so particular because any sort of like pandemic or anything just like the yellow fever back in the 1900s, and that led it up to the Great Depression. And think about that. Think about like how COVID was, and COVID wasn't even that bad. Wasn't nearly as bad as how the Spanish flu was.
Right. Not near as lethal, at least.
Exactly. I mean, yes, unfortunately people have died. I mean, I sympathize that, but it's more to way we still lived a normal life. It's just, yes, some things supposedly got changed, but I don't follow that change that much.
I
Yeah.
think the number one issue that Americans vote on is their pockets. If people are feeling financially stressed, they're going to go across party lines to make sure that they're taken care of. So I think that's why people could turn out to vote for Trump is because they do remember we had a better economy. They
Okay.
they want to they want to go back to that, and I don't blame them. Um, I would like to go back to 2020 before the pandemic. Um,
And the
actually,
stimulus checks.
yeah, actually, what year was the pandemic? 2020,
Yeah,
21?
it was between 2020 to 2021. It didn't last
Yeah,
for very long
yeah, yeah,
until we came to the conclusion.
yeah. But there's a quote, you never know you're in the good times until you're out of them. And then you look back on them and you're like, damn, we had it good back then. I wish I would have bought a house. I wish I would have invested some money. It,
Mhm.
it was a great time to do a lot of things. And I feel like a lot of people pissed that opportunity away, including myself.
Same. But and to be quite frank, I mean, as much as you and I lived a single bachelor life, like no kids or anything like that, it was, I don't know. I agree that we should have saved our money a lot better, but at the same time, it's just you get caught up in the moment that you do other things.
Well, what is the best gig or job in this economy or even business idea?
So, what's the best business idea? Oh man, that's a tough one. I definitely know automotive industry is obviously tanking a little bit, so I definitely don't think that would be a suitable.
Expand on
career.
that. What are you talking about? What are you
So,
seeing?
so the automotive industry definitely has lately made other jobs that help them supply. help them supply the materials to the assembly lines, such as like GM and Ford. So like basically companies that make the parts for the main assembly is what I'm saying. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
like so what we do is that we co-parts for the automotive industry, or just other companies
So
making parts
you
for the
coat
automotive.
these parts with chemicals to protect the metal, or what is
Yeah,
it? What
yeah,
is the
like it's
coating?
just rust and corrosion.
Oh,
Yeah, so
so what are you seeing in your line of work that is giving you signs about the automotive industry not being good right now?
basically it's been slowing down. It's definitely been taking a little bit because hours have been getting shifted. We've been going from 40 hours to now 32 hours under this new administration, and lately the automotive industry has been, just slowing down. I don't know what's going on as of what I'm seeing. I mean, most of my frustration that I'm looking at is mostly between the corporate people and the UAW. I think the people who protest are basically not showing any sort of sympathy for other businesses out there that are trying to help them supply the parts. And it's slowing us down, and yet they're out there protesting because the corporate people want to be, unfair to the employees.
Yeah, they want to fight for their workers' rights, so it makes sense.
Yes. Yeah.
I
And
mean, the corporations and the workers have been going at it since corporations were ever a thing.
oh yeah. It's man, it definitely affects the other jobs because it's like corporate people affect the employees affect the other people like us to help them supply the parts. And it just frustrates me because it's like we're trying our best to make this better economy, but yet it's just when the employees get fed up with it, and then it's just like I don't know what's going on
Well,
because
speaking of labor unions, I never expected to see this, but at the Republican National Convention, they had the Teamsters Union president speak at the RNC. That you had never seen a million years, like in an alternate reality, maybe. But typically, labor unions are that support Democrats. So it was strange to see them supporting a Republican. Although I don't think the Teamsters ever came out and endorsed Trump. But for them to even have a presence there is something else.
yeah, I think it's a bit of a crazy deal, honestly, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think the economy alone is a very confusing, mysterious thing. But I mean, I'm not. I mean, I don't know. I feel like whatever is a good economy. I mean, I think something low would. I mean, something small to work up big type of deal. Like I don't know, like selling eggs or doing something that's easy that you can
Right.
make a little bit of good money. Like,
Well,
well,
do you think people should start a second job?
in my opinion, yeah, I think so. I mean, I think having a second job is definitely good on your resume. I mean, it will definitely show that you have a better work experience depending on how long you have done this second job. I mean, between doing the first job and the second job. So, like my first job, I have done it for almost 9 years, and I've done this whole second job for like 2 years.
Wow. You've been at
Yeah.
the same place for 2 years?
No, no. Well, just all together on the second job. Most of the times, no,
Oh,
I've
I
left.
see. You've had a second job of some sort for the past 2 years.
Yes. Sorry,
Got
that
you.
did sound a little confusing. So
No, I agree. And I mean, not just for your resume, but for yourself. You've got more skills now than you did before
right.
because now you know retail, now you know stocking, you know customer service skills.
Yes, it definitely helps to knowing, hey, you can always keep that really good pay job and do something on the side, because it's like the thing I've always came to my conclusion was sitting on the couch obviously doesn't pay the bills. It's obvious.
Right.
I would much rather do something with my life, and knowing you could still get a nice place, you could still do something. And people have always felt like they're that oppressed to stick with that one job, and they think they're never going to get ahead. And I understand when it comes down to having a wife and having kids and all this other stuff. And see, and that was always a challenging factor of marriage, because the only thing I only see in marriages is as a very very difficult path to get into. Um, the way I've always seen it is how divorces can go. I mean, as far as divorces could go, having a wedding, I mean, that stuff costs money, right? And yet you're going to be in debt for that stuff. And it's really, really hard to, keep yourself financially secured. Yes, I might not be good with my money, but at least that's giving me plenty of opportunities to save, because I'm not that deeply in debt.
Yeah, you don't have as many liabilities as someone who's married and has kids,
Exactly.
which it definitely helps you pay your bills and stay on top of things. Uh, but it is concerning to think how hard it can be uh, these days to raise a family, buy a house, and is it becoming to the point of where there are going to be many more people like me and you, where we're in our late 20s, early 30s, and we're not married.
Right. I
I,
think.
I
Oh,
think that trend would catch on. Uh, and I think I am seeing it with some of my friends. I don't know if you can entirely blame that on the economy. I think it's mostly our society these days as well.
oh yeah. I mean, I just think how the economy goes, it's just because people run out of so many ideas. I mean, they want to try to do something better. It's just obvious with like marriages and all that. So like, well, with the whole second job, sorry, going back to the second job. But I think it's crazy, because sometimes it's mostly the excuses of I'm married, I have kids or whatever. And so for me, I mean, I try to embrace it to where I'm trying something new with my life, and I want to do it at my own risk. And knowing marriages have so much complications. I mean, you and I have seen marriages come and go. I mean, we know people that been married, got divorced, and all this stuff. And then when you look deeper into that sort of um, sort of ordeal, I mean, it's it's crazy to see how much of a financial disaster they get into.
Uh, yeah, I mean, it's not always financial. There, it's. I've heard marriage be equated to rocket surgery.
Yeah.
The old time. It's uh, it's not rocket science, or it's not brain surgery.
Hmm.
Well, marriage can be like rocket surgery. You've got two complex humans trying to go through life together and be partners, and a lot of times it just doesn't end up working out. And over
Exactly.
time, our brains change as well. So
Yeah.
they
It's
say
definitely
your
the chemistry.
brain they say your brain's not fully developed until you're 25, and for someone to get married at 18, 21, they may not be the same person they were when they did get married.
Exactly, because at first, like, they were all happy. Yes, it's all dreamy and full of sunshine and rainbows, but and then until they advance later on, it's just like, yeah, some have managed for a long time, and I say kudos to them. But at the same time, it's just like you gotta understand, like, this marriage, it's emotionally, it can be emotionally damaging. It can definitely drain your emotions out, and it can just drain everything, every bit of your integrity.
Well, that would be a toxic relationship, which no one should be in to begin with, let alone enter into a marriage while in a toxic relationship.
Yeah.
You got to use your head when it
Oh yeah.
comes to picking partners. I mean, like we are discussing earlier, people change over time, and sometimes the person you married isn't isn't the same person anymore.
Exactly. And that was one of my fears, is not to get into a deep committed marriage relationship, because I don't want to change the way I am. And I fear the most, because I'm working so hard to work on myself. I mean, there's a lot to work on myself before I even get married, because it's like, if I get married and then somehow I end up in a divorce, I mean, that's just going to damage me personally. I mean, that's just going to drain me financially, and it's just going to drain me emotionally, because then that just puts me in a constant state of depression. I mean, I don't want that. I definitely want to be my own.
Yeah, I mean, if you're happy by yourself, be by yourself. I think a lot of people find a lot of joy out of relationships, marriages, and having kids. So kudos to them as
Exactly.
well. I probably would like that one day, but for now, I'm I'm uh, I'm just exploring and having fun.
Exactly. I mean, I like it to do it as we are young. I mean, I agree. I mean, I would like to get married one day myself. It's not like I want to not permanently. It's just there's a lot to work on ourselves before anything, because marriage can, just like I said, just lead to so much problems. And it's just like, you got to ask yourself, are we ready? And it's like, I don't know.
That's the other thing about life, Harry, is sometimes you just gotta send it and see where you end up. I mean, yeah, you can overthink and talk yourself out of anything, but
Exactly.
you just have to find what you want to do and then pursue it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's just like, I understand, like, it's a human tradition and all that stuff, but like, at the same time, when you look at the rates of divorces and how much the consequences go on that one way street, it's just, I don't know. It's unfathomed to see that happening to people like that. And it's just like, I definitely don't want that. I definitely don't want to see myself in a bitter situation where everything that I've worked for gone.
I mean, all is not lost through divorce. Many people make it through a first divorce, move on to second marriages, and they seem to be happy. So, I mean, it's not the end of the world to get divorced, but definitely not your plan A when you get married.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, those are your thoughts on it, and that's what we're doing. We're shooting the shit about our own thoughts and opinions.
Yeah, I think we definitely achieved the topics that we need to discuss about tonight. So,
Yeah,
um,
and oh, I did want to get into Israel a little bit. So,
yeah, go ahead.
for you and viewers that aren't aware, Israel and Hamas or the Palestinians have been going back and force since October. Ever since the Palestinians or Hamas really attacked Israel back in October, and things are really heating up over there, almost into a regional war.
Wow.
Hezbollah is another terror group. So, Harry, you have Hamas. Those are the ones that attacked Israel in October, and they've been going to war with them in Gaza ever since. But then you have Hezbollah, which is up north in Lebanon, another sovereign country north of Israel.
Mhm.
But they hide in Lebanon and they shoot rockets from Lebanon at Israel, and they're called Hezbollah. But these guys, they're loaded to the teeth, Hezbollah is. And they just rocketed a children's soccer game match in Israel. And
Wow.
yeah, Netanyahu, the president of Israel, he cut his trip to Washington, D.C. Short so he could fly back because of that attack. And apparently it killed a bunch of children, and Israel is ramping up for a retaliation. And right now the U.S. is trying to calm Israel down because they know that if Israel strikes back, and this will be a big strike back, that this could cause a regional war with drawing Hezbollah and Iran.
Jeez almighty.
So
I'm never
yeah.
gonna understand.
Yeah, so I've been watching that really closely. That retaliation should come any night now, and I expect something big to come out of there. So yeah, that's Israel, and my thoughts on it. I mean, I'm not really picking a side because that is such a complex war. It's one of those you had to have grown up there to know what the heck is going on.
Exactly.
Because
I think it's like a brother and sister fighting each other.
Unfortunately, kids are dying, because of it. Not just kids, but people, human beings. And we only have one life to live. But yeah, this past week it's been crazy. Elon Musk also just told the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, to what is it? These nuts. he told him to suck on these nuts, which was pretty hilarious. It was in relation to an AI fake Kamala Harris ad that Elon Musk had interacted with on Twitter, or formerly Twitter, now known as X. And Gavin Newsom said that he wants to make it illegal to share that type of stuff in California. And Elon Musk said, suck on these nuts.
Wow.
So things are getting interesting between Musk and California right now as well, because Elon threatened he didn't really threaten. He kind of made a statement that he's going to pull his businesses out of California.
And put it in Texas.
Exactly. And I mean, Texas is, I like Texas personally. Half the damn state is a desert, but once you get over that fact, I like the culture down there. The Mexican food is amazing. And you're kind of on your own. The government doesn't really mess with you.
Yeah, I definitely like the Harbor Walk and
the River Walk.
The River Walk, yeah.
Yeah. Did you go there for your brother's Air Force graduation, or what were you in San Antonio for?
It was definitely for my brother's graduation.
Okay.
When
I think that was in like 2008, right? Maybe 09.
09 near 2010.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think your brother graduated in 08, right?
9.
Oh, he graduated 09? Okay.
Yes.
No, I just remember around that time when he was thinking about joining the Air Force. It was pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we definitely got to see the Alamo and all that. It was
Oh,
interesting.
yeah. All the mariachi bands and whatnot.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It was definitely a whole other beast there, that's for sure.
Yeah. We almost have a war going on in every continent except for North America and Antarctica.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah. I don't think too much of wars, honestly. I just think they're very meaningless. I mean, it's obvious that I'll stick with that topic through and through.
Oh, I mean, yeah, all war is meaningless, but at the same point, if people aren't aware of what the hell's going on, this could be happening here, especially looking at Venezuela.
Oh yeah, well that's for sure. I mean, like I said, not every high authoritarian or tyrants will ever last for very long. I mean, it's always going to be a phase of some sort, and once that phase falls out, then it's just going to become another phase. I mean, like I said, America has been through so much phases. It's crazy. I mean, there has been so many presidents that have tried to become the higher power, but like I said, I mean, Trump can, try his best to become that dictator or whatever, the higher authority, but well, we won't see it to the very end.
I just watched that movie the other day, The Dictator.
Oh yeah, I definitely remember there was an end scene where he actually talked about how dictatorship has its benefits, and I forgot what it was, but
Oh yeah, that was a funny movie.
it was
The Dictator, and then I also watched Borat this past week as well. I fell asleep to that one, but that's the kind of dumb humor I like.
yeah.
Tune in and turn your brain off.
Yeah.
What you pulling up there, Harry?
Just that scene from The Dictator of
Oh, okay.
the benefits of a dictator.
Yeah, see if you can get that pulled up.
There we go. Okay, we got this pulled up. There we go.
What are you doing? This man is an imposter.
No, this traitor tried to kill me and had my beard removed. Look! Arrest the Viper Tamir!
And now, in another amazing turn of events, Tamir Mafrad is being taken away.
This constitution is nothing but a license for oil companies and foreign interests to destroy my beloved Wadiya. Wadiya will remain a dictatorship. Woo! Oh, be quiet. Why are you guys so anti-dictators? Imagine if America was a dictatorship. You could let 1% of the people have all the nation's wealth. You could help your rich friends get richer by cutting their taxes and bailing them out when they gamble and lose. You could ignore the needs of the poor for healthcare and education. Your media would appear free, but would secretly be controlled by one person and his family. You could wiretap phones. You could torture foreign prisoners. You could have rigged elections. You could lie about why you go to war. You could fill your prisons with one particular racial group, and no one would complain. You could use the media to scare the people into supporting policies that are against their interests. I know this is hard for you Americans to imagine, but please try. I will tell you what democracy is. Democracy is the worst. Endless talking and listening to every stupid opinion, and everybody's vote counts, no matter how crippled or black or female they are.
But yeah, you definitely get the point.
That was great. I remember that when he gets on his soapbox, I'm like, that'd be pretty funny to share, because what he was saying is things that the United States already does.
Yes, and then 1% of the people will have the wealth and all that, and then the rich people would just get richer by cutting off taxes.
Oh,
So actually, no,
that's-
everybody would get rich. Everybody would. Technically, if I'm not mistaken.
I think the point he was trying to drive home there was 1% have all the money, and the other 99% are working.
Yeah. I mean, ain't that the same way as how modern society is now?
Yeah, that's the whole point. He was making fun of the United States for being hypocrites of dictatorships because they themselves do the same things.
Oh, okay.
That was the whole point of that clip, was him saying, yeah, and you can lie to them and get them scared so they'll vote against their own interests. So that would be for like Republicans. When Republicans say, hey, they're going to take your guns, vote us in, and then they get voted in, there's no legitimate fear of their guns being taken, but they're voting for these rich politicians
Yeah.
when they themselves are poor. It's a doozy. But no, that's a very interesting clip you shared. I thought it has a deeper meaning than what it looks like. But hey, I'd like to give a shout out to our childhood. Hey, while I have you here, I still have a dozen Go Wild scratch and sniffs. These are from the Rugrats 2003 Go Wild movie, where they meet up with the wild thornberries, and they have these scenes throughout the movie that are numbered, and you can scratch and sniff your card with the corresponding scene. These are awesome. Throwback to 2003. That's 21 years ago. Hard to believe. But I remember how nasty those cards smell. And we've got them right here in our Shopify. I am working on an eBay store as well. So get them here. You can have your own. You can have them for yourself, or even show them to your kids and share your childhood.
Our links will be in the Instagram above the bio, and or YouTube down in the description.